These long dog days of summer, I mean, we just made it through a heat wave. Mama was parched through this heat wave. I was hitting up Dunkin' every single day, and I will continue to probably for the rest of my days, but especially this summer. Dunkin' is helping everyone stay cool this summer with its lineup of refreshers. These drinks are packed with bold, fruity flavors and served ice cold. It's amazing. Dunkin' refreshers are the perfect afternoon pick-me-up. I like to start my morning with them personally, and then sometimes I go back for a second one because I'm just feeling crazy. They come in a variety of delicious flavors, including fan favorites mango pineapple and strawberry dragon fruit. And then for a limited time, there's black cherry and there's pink pineapple. I'm going to tell you something right now, and it's a bold claim, let me tell you, but I stand behind it. Pink pineapple will change your life. It is so good. It has me feeling like I'm sitting in a pool, resort side, just living, honey. It's so yummy. Try your favorite flavor with green tea, sparkling water, lemonade, or Dunkin's all-new limeade. I haven't tried the limeade yet, but I'm going to. Usually I get my drinks made with green tea and occasionally lemonade, but I do really like the green tea. Or if you don't want to build your own, try one of Dunkin's curated refreshers like the Cherry Lime Ricky or the Ultimate Pink Daydream. The Cherry Lime Ricky, scrumptious. I could drink like 3 of these a day. They're so freaking yummy. Head to Dunkin' today and find your favorite refresher. Dunkin' refreshers contain less than 1% fruit juice. Limited time offer. You know what's really terrifying? That unfinished college degree lurking in the background, just sitting there waiting for you. That's where Southern New Hampshire University comes in. With flexible online degree programs, there's no commuting, no rigid schedule, and no more excuses. Plus, they have some of the lowest online tuition rates in the U.S. Visit snhu.edu/morbid to learn more before your degree becomes just another story about what could have been. Chilling crime cases are mysterious, but finding coverage shouldn't be. With the State Farm Personal Price Plan, you have options and can personalize your plan to help create an affordable price so you can get back to cracking all of life's bigger cases. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can choose to bundle and save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Head to statefarm.com to get a quote. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Hey, weirdos. I'm Alina.
And I'm Ash.
And this is Morbid.
What is up, fuckers?
What is up?
So we're doing something for Halloween. I won't say what it is. It's a special surprise. But part of it does involve Alina wearing a weird contact in her eye.
And I'm wearing it right now.
And she's wearing it right now, and it's throwing me off.
It threw John way off.
John fucking hates it.
He hates it.
John said, "Get that out of your eyeball."
He literally went, "Oh, no."
I was sitting in the office and he was in the other room when she showed him, and I literally just hear, oh God, no.
He hates it. It freaks him out. I love it.
I think it's great.
He knows now. He was like, oh no, this is going to be like, you're just going to pop that in on like a random Tuesday and just walk downstairs, aren't you?
You should just like wake him up one morning wearing both of them.
And just stare at him.
Yeah. Oh, but you're afraid to put one in the other eye.
I am. I have like one eye that I had like, it's just a problematic eye.
Didn't the kids like scratched it when they were babies?
Yeah, when they were
right?
like babies, one of my kids accidentally poked into my eye and then like ripped. And
Your
literally
cornea, right?
tore my cornea open. Like it wasn't like a scratch on the cornea, like a flap was like literally the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life.
Yeah.
It wasn't immediate. I know we're getting off track, but you know, it's the beginning.
It's always off track in the beginning.
This is just, you know, it's important for you to know.
Tales from the eyes.
Because it was bad. Like it was a bad poke and you were like, oh, my eye was like watering like crazy.
Yeah.
And it was rough, but I was able to go to sleep that night, whatever. And then what happened was my eye dried out in the middle of the night. And I woke up and I opened my lid and my lid tore the remaining piece of my cornea up.
No.
And that was the worst pain I have ever experienced in my life. And I have had 3 children.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that confidently because I literally started to sob immediately, but didn't want to wake anyone up because that's who I am. And I went downstairs and just paced around, crying into pillows and contemplating whether I should run full force into a wall and knock myself out. That's how bad that pain was. And I'm not saying that to be funny. That is the reality of what happened. I literally looked at a wall and I said, should I run into it?
I'm just picturing a quiet, still house.
And it was.
Like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And then everybody just hears like, dong.
It's just like, what's that?
I'm just picturing like, the cartoon birds flying above your head.
The stars. No, I literally did. We had to go to the ER.
Yeah, I remember.
And they had to give me like the numbing stuff, like the lidocaine drops.
Yeah.
But they can only give you that once because they'll fuck up your eye.
Oh my God.
So they give you it and the relief is immediate.
But
and you
then
go,
it goes away.
Oh God, this is amazing. And then they send you home and they say, well, you need to get, you need to have an appointment and you need to get all this stuff done.
Didn't
But
you have to
go
get
home
like
and
a
it wears
permanent
off.
or like semi-permanent
I had to
contact?
get a contact, like a healing contact put on it because they had to like do something to it to like repair
and then so
the
it wouldn't
cornea,
like reopen.
so it wouldn't keep tearing open.
Damn.
So I had to wear a hard contact for like a week and I had to wear sunglasses for a week. I couldn't be outside because it was so exposed that I couldn't be in the
you
sun.
could like burn your eye. My eye
So the story, the end of that story is just that I don't want to put a contact in that eye.
Moral of the story. I don't blame you.
I'm just very scared of that eye.
One time, I think it was it was 8th grade. I laughed into a pencil, and you heard that right. I was lolling with my girlies in class,
Holding
and
a
I was
pencil.
holding a pencil, and I literally went, "Oh!" and like tilted my head back, and then fell forward and scratched my cornea, which that in and of itself hurt so bad.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine tearing my cornea open. And I was on crutches at that point because that summer I had broken my pelvis. And then to add insult to motherfucking injury, 14 years old, 8th grade, like always the greatest time of your life.
Oh, absolutely.
Except not at all.
The worst.
I had to wear an eye patch.
So you're wearing an eye patch while on crutches.
An eye patch, and I was on crutches. I did not wear the eye patch as long as they told me to because I said, honey, my reputation will never recover. I said, I'm sorry, doctor.
I be damned.
I don't give a fuck. I'll go blind before
Like,
I walk
fuck
the
it,
halls
before
with
I
an
damage
eye
my
patch,
reputation.
with an eye patch and crutches.
Oh my God.
Because I was on crutches for so long that people started to say I was faking, even though, I mean, I was like, I broke my fucking pelvis. Like, it's going to take me a while to heal here.
Yeah, it's like a pretty big bone.
So then adding an eye patch to that, it was not good.
It's not good.
No good.
Damn. You know, that Ash is a loller.
I
and
am
when
a
she
loller.
laughs, she laughs with her whole body.
One thing about me is I
she's
loll.
a loller. So,
I'm in it for the lols.
well, this one will not make you lol, I don't think, but it'll make you go, huh.
So you'll ha instead of lol.
This is the House of Flying Objects.
That sounds kind of
known.
lit.
I know, isn't that kind of beautiful?
I kind of
feel?
love it.
It's also known as the Pauper Poltergeist. I almost was like Poltergeist.
That's silly.
The Pauper Poltergeist.
That makes me also lol.
This one is one of those cases where there isn't an answer to this day. They were not able to debunk,
So it's a haunt.
but there is a theory. But this theory, again, is a theory, and it has not been proven. And the person who the theory is against vehemently says
Not me.
they did not cause this to happen.
All right.
So I'll leave it to you at the end.
You decide.
So the family was the Herrmann family. And this case is considered by many to be the first modern investigation into poltergeist disturbances. It was in the 50s.
Oh, shit.
And it was actually the inspiration for Steven Spielberg's 1982 and Tobe Hooper's horror film, Poltergeist.
Oh.
Now, despite all the attention it got, the case, like I said, is still unexplained. They have not been able to figure out what the fuck was going on in this house.
It's really hard to look at you right now.
I know, this is really fun to tell a
Now
story
you're
like
serious,
this.
too. So it's like...
I'm serious and I have this really scary eye.
Yes. But it's also kind of goofy because you're just in like regular
I'm just
clothes.
like, yeah, you know.
And like you have your hair extensions too.
Yeah.
So you're just like, I'm pretty and my
it's-
eye's scary.
So I just have like a blowout. It's like you in the haunted house.
I was just going to say that.
It's you in the haunted house with a big blonde blowout.
Listen, that's who I am.
Drew's like, there's Ash.
Yeah, I can always be spotted.
So, as far as anyone could remember, the disturbances in the Herrmann house started on Monday, February 3rd, 1953. 43-year-old James Herrmann was at work, and his wife, 38-year-old Lucille, and their children, Jimmy and Lucille, were home alone at their home in Long Island, New York.
Long Island.
Long Island.
I love when a woman names her daughter after herself. I think
I do
that's
too.
a
It's like
fucking power move and a
Lorelai.
half. Yeah.
Lorelai and Rory.
Because guys do it all the time, but you
Yeah.
don't hear of it with women often.
And I love that both the kids are juniors.
Yes.
Jimmy
both
and Lucille.
of them.
It's James and Lucille.
That was lost on me.
Yeah. See, they both did.
Check it.
Good for them. Mrs. Herrmann was finishing up some chores on the first floor of the house, and she suddenly heard some popping noises coming from the second floor. And when she went up to look, Lucille found that a small holy water bottle on the dresser in the main bedroom.
You know, like everyone has.
I was going to say, whoa. Okay. Just their holy water that they had on their nightstand.
Okay.
Its cap was unscrewed and the bottle was laying on its side with the contents all spilled.
Okay.
Now, in Jimmy's bedroom, I'm going to call James the father and Jimmy the son so you can
Okay.
determine.
Differentiate.
In Jimmy's bedroom, Lucille found that the head of a ceramic doll had been broken and several pieces of a model ship he had been working on had snapped off. And in other places in the house, Lucille discovered several other bottles where the caps appeared to have simply popped off.
Okay.
With no explanation.
Pop off.
Just popping off. Now, although there were some minor disturbances in the house in the days after that, mostly witnessed by the children, Lucille and Jimmy, the problem didn't escalate until the morning of February 9th. That morning, a little after 10 a.m., the whole family was gathered in the dining room, just eating breakfast, and they heard the popping noises again. This time they all heard it. Mm-hmm. Lucille ran to the main bedroom and discovered that the cap on the holy water bottle again had come off and the contents was spilled on the nightstand. And a bottle of expensive perfume that was also on her dresser had spilled.
Oh,
top had
fuck
come
that.
off.
You mess with my perfume, you die.
I figured you were going to be pissed about that.
So pissed.
So she's examining these bottles, being like, what the fuck is going on here? And she heard more popping noises as this was happening. She went in the bathroom, and a shampoo bottle and a bottle of liquid medication, their caps had popped off and they were tipped over and the contents was spilling everywhere.
What?
And again, the kids are downstairs.
Right.
So
it's not like these bottles are like popping. Like she hears the
you
popping
hear the
noises.
pop sound. Like
So it's not even like they're
someone's
being
unscrewing
unscrewed.
things and tipping it over.
Yeah.
There's a pop happening and the cap is like flying off.
Like this doesn't sound like a child's behavioral problem.
No. And so it's weird. So in the kitchen, also, a bottle of cooking starch exploded.
Damn.
And in the basement, a bottle of paint thinner popped open and began spilling the contents.
Oh no.
So like, what the fuck is
What is going on? Yeah.
So they're all clearly alarmed by what's happening. So Lucille was like, I'm calling the police. I don't know what's going on. Like, is our house like about to explode? Like, I would freak out too. I wouldn't know who to call.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, who do you call?
weird.
Ghostbusters? Like, what do you do?
Well, and weird things like that happen, and like it could be
Like a gas leak or
well,
something.
like exactly. Yeah.
Which, like, when you really think about it, you're like,
couldn't
clearly
be a
it's
gas
not.
leak,
But like,
but-
you would think like, I can't determine what is happening here. So like, I'm afraid my house is going to explode.
Yeah.
So she called the police and patrolman Jay Hughes was dispatched to the house.
Okay.
So Hughes sat with the family in the living room to take their statement, and the officer heard popping noises coming from the bathroom. And they all went in there to look at what happened, and the officer found that both the medicine and shampoo bottle had spilled again and had popped their caps.
I love that the ghost was like, I'm not going to hide.
Yeah, he was like, oh, hey, officer.
I'll do this in front of
I'm
the
here."
cops. Call them.
So Lucille and James Sr. explained to Hughes, at the time of the occurrences, there were no tremors in the house and no loud noises or disturbances of any kind that could be noticed.
Okay.
A few days later, on February 11th, the whole thing repeated itself in the house. And Lucille called the police again and was like, it's fucking happening again. So Detective Joseph Totsi arrived at the Herrmann's house and very quickly and sat down to take their statement again. And he labeled this report, I love it, local investigation, broken bottles. Like, that's it. Now,
Put this one top of shelf, guys.
yes, broken bottles. According to Lucille, since the last officer had been at the house a few days earlier, quote, the disturbances appeared to be increasing in both number and magnitude.
Huh.
So, of course, Totsi's first thought was, I think your children are playing a prank on you.
Yeah.
Maybe, and so he warned the children He said to the children, if they were in any way connected with this case and that they were causing the disturbances in some way, that is a serious matter.
Yeah, because you're taking up our time.
Yeah, he was like, you have to know that, like, if police are being called and you're playing pranks, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, like, stop it. Cut it out.
So Jimmy and Lucille, the kids, were like, we did not do this. Like, I promise. And Tootsie said he was very convinced of their innocence. Like, they did not seem to have anything to do with this. Later that day, and much to the surprise of James and Lucille Herrmann, their story made its way into the evening edition of the local papers.
Oh, no. And they're probably like, please don't do that.
Oh, no, they loved it.
Oh, okay.
And one reporter wrote, the revolt of the bottles today gripped the once tranquil home of James Herrmann.
I can't imagine listening to that.
And it wrote, it probably wouldn't have seemed out of the ordinary to readers that a few bottle caps popped off unexpectedly. And then it said, but the article was quick to point out, all the bottles that flipped their lids had screw-type caps, and the caps were not bent or distorted. They just came off.
Which is weird.
Now, out of concern that there might be some sort of, like we said, gas leak, something weird, something dangerous that's happening, some unseen hazard in this house, James called Dr. Donald Hughes, which was an acquaintance of his, who worked at the Brookhaven National Laboratory, which was a local atomic energy lab. Okay. So he's a very smart guy.
Casual.
And he asked, like, is my family in danger? Should I get my family out of this house? What's going on?
Are we all going to explode?
Yeah. And Hughes told him, I cannot think of any cause for all of this. It's certainly possible that some bottles might explode from overdevelopment of gas, but it would have nothing to do with radioactivity.
Okay.
So he was like, I don't think you're in danger, but, like, I can't explain to you what's happening here.
I don't think you're in danger, but I also don't know.
But I don't actually know. I don't rightly know, sir.
To summarize here.
I don't rightly know. So by the next day, more news outlets had picked up this story, and they were calling it the revolt of the bottles.
I'm kind of obsessed with that.
I love all of this. Like, I love that the report was called Local Investigation Broken Bottles. I love that all the articles are calling it the revolt of the bottles.
I'm into it.
Like, the bottles are revolting against this family for some weird reason.
They're like, you know what? We've had enough.
Yeah. And like I said, the Herrmanns actually, like, loved it. They were enthusiastically responding to press inquiries.
Okay.
On February 12th, Detective Tootsie returned to the house in response to another complaint. This time, they said additional bottle lids were popping off and a plastic angel ornament had a wing snapped off of it.
That's sad.
Yeah. So Tootsie took the bottles and the angel as evidence, but didn't really have anything else for them. He was like, yeah, I don't know what's going on here, but I'll take them as evidence.
Okay.
So as he left that afternoon, there were like a ton of reporters, photographers, camera crews that had started to gather on the front lawn of the house.
Of course.
They were all interested to learn, like, this must be paranormal. What's going on? So Mrs. Herrmann led the group through the house.
She said, check all this out.
She said, sure, pointing out where the various disturbances had occurred. And a man that nobody knew worked his way to the front of the crowd and introduced himself as, quote, a holy man from Center More Riches.
I'm fucking obsessed with that.
He said, hello, I'm a holy man.
I love it.
It gets even funnier because immediately after introducing himself, the man just dropped to his knees in the dining room and started praying loudly and excitedly for about 10 minutes straight.
Okay, so I don't really love that.
But when he was finished, he turned to Lucille Herrmann and said, everything's all right. You've been forgiven. And then he just walked out of the house, got in his car, and drove the fuck away, and no one saw him again.
That's the kind of energy I'm looking for, minus the prayer.
Like, just, he's like, hello, I'm a holy man. And then he's just, boom, prayer, 10 minutes. And then he just gets up and he's like, you good, you've been forgiven. And then he just leaves and never comes back.
What the fuck? But this is very early on in the story, so it seems like it didn't work.
But honestly, the star of the story, in my opinion. Just introduce yourself and then go for it.
Also, a way to, like, feed the rumor mill by looking directly at Lucille and being like, it's all good.
And, like, you've been forgiven.
Forgave what you did.
Like, what the fuck did she do?
Yeah.
This supposed holy man from Center More Riches was just the first of many unusual characters to appear in the lives of the Herrmanns to give solutions, some kind of explanation for what was going on in their house. That same day, the family was visited by Dr. Norman Fodor. who was a New York City psychoanalyst who had been studying the phenomenon of ghosts for several decades at this point. I don't know why I can't speak.
It's hard.
According to Dr. Norman, the destruction in the Herrmann's house was being caused by a poltergeist, which he described as, quote, a kind of biological life force that in some admittedly unknown manner leaps out of a person's body and physically affects objects at a distance.
Okay.
So Dr. Norman explained that poltergeist activity, and this is a thing related to poltergeist activity, it's commonly associated with adolescents undergoing puberty.
I did know that, yeah.
And it's speculated that the poltergeist energy was likely coming from 12-year-old Jimmy.
Okay.
Now, to the Herrmanns and the press and the public, honestly, the explanation seemed as plausible as any at this point. They were like, sure, why not?
I love that the public is like down for this.
This part of the show is brought to you by Anua, the Korean skincare brand known for scientific, gentle, yet effective formulations. The latest from Anua is the Retinol Collagen Gua Sha Cream, a firming cream with a gua sha-shaped tip built right in. Have you guys heard of gua sha? It's that viral massage tool that moves fluid and tension out of your face. Less puffiness, a snatched jawline, honey, more definition in your face. Retinol firms and reduces fine lines, and collagen keeps your skin plump and structured. This cream has both of those things, arguably the most optimal combo for that snatched, lifted look all in one step. I am obsessed with the Gua Sha cream. First of all, it feels so cool to the touch. When you put that on your face, it's just like, this is lovely. It's like a little spa treatment that you can give yourself. I like to do mine at night after I get out of the shower. I rub the cream on my face with the little gua sha. I'm sculpting that jawline, honey. I got it on the cheekbones. And actually, I had a facial the other day, and the lady doing my facial, the professional, she said, do you use a gua sha at home? And I said, I do. And I said, how did you know that? And she said, I didn't have those little like bumps in my chin or like different areas like that. So she could tell that I was using the gua sha. And I said, oh my God. I just feel like I wake up less puffy in the morning when I do it the night before. But you can do it whenever you want to. I, 10 out of 10, recommend this product. The Anua Gua Sha Cream Value Set is available at anua.com, already discounted. Use code MORBID for an extra 10% off. That's ANUA.com, code MORBID. Chilling crime cases are mysterious, but finding coverage shouldn't be. With the State Farm Personal Price Plan, you have options and can personalize your plan to help create an affordable price so you can get back to cracking all of life's bigger cases. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can choose to bundle and save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Head to statefarm.com to get a quote. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Public was like, oh, yeah.
Because usually they're like, like ostracize the family and they're like, oh my God, they're fucking crazy.
I think in the 50s, they were just like, sure.
What else are we going to talk about?
Why not? But they still welcomed any advice or any alternative explanations. They were just like, sure, we'll pin that one on the board.
Yeah.
The detectives at the 7th Precinct, for example, instructed Lucille to try an experiment. They said, fill 10 bottles with water and watch them throughout the day to see if they were affected. But by the end of the day, they were still intact.
Okay.
So that's interesting. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, an electrician from the Long Island Lighting Company visited the house and inspected all the circuitry, top to bottom. He found no faulty wiring, no issues that could be causing disturbances. And the technician went as far as setting up a device capable of detecting the slightest vibrations and detected nothing.
That's really cool.
Other more supernatural explanations were definitely offered by the public, including those relating to the positions of, the stars and the planets in the sky or something like that.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I don't think that had to do with this.
I don't think it had to do with this.
Things related to high frequency vibration, the erosion of a stream under the house causing the ground to shift in subtle, undetectable ways. People were really reaching for anything they could tap into here. Now, all the media attention surrounding what they were now referring to as the House of Flying Objects eventually extended beyond just New York. And it ended up reaching J.B. Rhine, who was the founder of Duke University's parapsychology lab in Durham, North Carolina.
Oh, cool.
Rhine was a botanist by training, but he had also maintained a very serious interest in the paranormal for decades. He was very, very into it. He was introduced to the concept in the 1920s, actually.
Wow.
When he and his wife attended a lecture by a man you might know the name of, a world-renowned author and paranormal enthusiast, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Do we know him?
Sherlock Holmes. He wrote Sherlock Holmes.
Gotcha. I was like, I don't actually know who that is.
Arthur Conan Doyle. Within a few years of that lecture, Ryan and a small number of research assistants started investigating, because he was very interested in what he had to say. And they started investigating the potential for extrasensory perception, ESP, by testing students at Duke University and officially starting the lab in 1930. So he really got into it.
That's really cool. And very ahead of his time.
Yeah, truly. So Ryan and his institute at Duke were dedicated to the scientific pursuit of the paranormal. So from the outset, he hoped to apply the scientific method to researching the paranormal, and he enthusiastically rooted out frauds and charlatans in the paranormal world. He was going to call your ass out. He was going to debunk your shit.
Cool.
That's his job.
Yeah.
If he can't explain it, cool. But if he can explain it, he's going to explain it. He's like ghost hunters, internet,
Yeah.
Like taps.
Yes.
They debunk. So among the most notable achievements that he had was the debunking and defaming of Mina Crandon, who was a notorious psychic medium who had been defrauding and exploiting people for years through her seances.
That. Mina, that's
and
mean.
he said, "Get fucked, Mina." Like, that's one of his notable achievements, was proving that she's a charlatan.
Hate that. I love the word charlatan.
I do too. But he had also been looking for an opportunity to begin exploring the poltergeist phenomenon, because that had become a thing in the paranormal world at this time. And he told a reporter of his learning of the Herrmann case, "We are always glad to be informed of puzzling phenomenon, either human or animal. We don't have any record that has been adequately proved." So for the time being, Ryan asked a colleague in New York to look into the case and just kind of report back as to whether it was even worth investigating. He was like, take a look, let us know if we should get involved. In the meantime, the activity of the Herrmann house, I had to take a deep breath. After COVID, I don't know if anybody else had, I'm still I
having a hard
run
time.
out of breath very easily.
That's not great.
Yeah, I still have a cough, so I think it's
Maybe
not helping.
that's it.
So in the meantime, the activity at the house escalated in frequency and intensity. A few days after Tootsie's last visit on February 13th, the family continued to experience the whole bottle caps, popping off of their bottles.
Yeah.
All the contents spilling. And now the incidents were accompanied by objects flying around the room.
Okay. Hate that.
In Jimmy's bedroom, a plastic angel ornament flew from its position on the nightstand and crashed into a statue of Davy Crockett 4 feet away.
That is the most iconic thing I've ever heard. Period.
Angel statue launching
Crockett.
itself into Davy Crockett. That happened.
She said, "Fuck you, Davy."
And there were several, literally, "Fuck you, Davy Crockett." And there were several other instances where things were flying at the family, essentially.
Interesting that there's been a couple
breaking
instances of angels too, breaking
and holy water
dive
and stuff.
bombing.
I'm
Yeah.
uh-oh, do you have a diamond?
Ruh-roh.
Now, later that afternoon, a water bottle and another perfume bottle in the main bedroom lost their lids. The contents spilled out. But this time, the bottles were reported to be hot to the touch.
Okay.
Now, Herrmann said, "I'd just gone into the room with my son and daughter, and we noticed that another bottle had fallen. It was hot, as if lukewarm water was in it. This was the first time I had noticed that particular thing." And what I say to that is, those are two conflicting ideas. How is it hot if there's lukewarm water in it?
Thank you.
Because when I have lukewarm water, it does not make the outside hot.
No.
It makes it lukewarm.
Correct.
So I'm confused by that.
Yeah. But if it's hot to the touch, it's was it heated up somehow on the outside and pressure and then got pressurized
thing.
and that's why the bottles are popping off?
And it's
Somebody walking around with a lighter?
yeah. And it's remember, this is the 50s. So it's
did they have lighters in the 50s? I don't
what
know.
do we...
Matches?
And I think that's what's important is there's so many things in here where you're going to go, well, it's that. But then you have to be wait, it's the 50s. Would they even know how to do that? You know what I mean? There's you got to bring it back to there and be wait a second.
Right.
Not impossible, all these things that we're going to come through, but interesting at the
I wonder,
very least.
what you learned in science at Jimmy's age.
I know. Because he's 12, remember?
So he wouldn't have super advanced
Yeah, you shouldn't have. I mean,
scientific
it's not
knowledge.
Yeah.
Unless
but-
he's like really into science.
which he could be. Mm-hmm. His dad was friends with scientists. Like,
So yeah.
it's obviously, you know. But a few days later, the intensity of the attacks appeared to increase.
Okay.
Bottles were now shattering, which is interesting. Ink was being thrown across the walls.
Damn.
And more ornaments and figurines were flying from the shelves and smashing on the floor or against the wall. To this point, it was the Herrmanns alone who'd experienced all this. Like, no one else was in the house. But on February 21st, Detective Totsi was in the house when in an adjoining room, he saw a porcelain figure shoot 10 feet across the room and smash itself against the wooden secretary, putting a sizable dent in the wood.
Wow.
So it had to have been launched hard.
Yeah. And he saw that nobody was in that room. Like he said, it launched itself.
All he saw was this thing launch itself across the room. And it's a porcelain figure. And it hit that wooden thing so hard that there was a sizable dent.
Which is crazy.
Which takes force.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Totsi documented this and returned to the precinct, but less than an hour later, he was called back to the house by Lucille. And when he got there, he found Mrs. Herrmann and the children huddled together in the hall, saying she figured that would be the safest place.
Oh.
Because she was saying, like, every
Things
room
are
things are
flying.
flying at us. Like, I'm afraid one of the kids is going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So according to Lucille, not long after Detective Totsi left the house, it went crazy. Like the ferocity and directness was something they had not experienced. Like that it was, things were being thrown hard and they were being thrown directly at them. Like, and that hadn't happened before. Before it was kind of flying across the room, maybe near them.
Well, and that's kind of like what happens with poltergeist
It gets
activity.
worse
Like
and worse.
it gradually, exactly.
And in fact, whatever was, popping caps. I knew you'd like that one.
I'm obsessed.
Popping caps, like literally popping
In your
caps off
ass.
bottles. And hurling objects seem to now be doing so with the kind of like aggressiveness and malevolence that implied sentience. Like it implied that this thing was angry at the Herrmanns themselves.
I kind of fucking love that.
Right? Like it implied that this thing is trying to hurt them.
Like I don't want it to hurt them. I don't love that, but I love a sentient being.
Yeah, like seems like a sentient, like it's making a choice.
Well, and
to
it's
throw these things at
interesting
them.
that guy looked at Lucille before dipping off into the sunset and said they forgave you.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't.
Maybe
they just told that guy to
get him out of
she was
there.
forgiven. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, it wasn't enough to alarm the family with when it was like a few bottles popping off here and there. Like they were more just confused by that. They
Yeah.
weren't like super scared
But
because
when they're
nothing
like
was hurting them.
under attack.
But that's the thing. Now it's destroying their property and hurling objects at them.
And think like of like the sentimental things that you have that probably got
and
destroyed.
they're worried that this is going to hurt the kids. And so the disturbance on the night of the 21st was so intense that the next day, James and Lucille thought it was best to go stay with family members nearby, just to get a break. Like they were like, we don't want to deal with the media anymore. We don't want to deal with what's going on in the house.
Yeah, it seems like very overwhelming.
James Herrmann told a reporter, "My wife has lost sleep during the last days and the kids are getting behind on their homework."
Oh no.
So while they were staying with relatives, Lucille received a call from Helen Connolly, who was a 74-year-old widow in Revere, Massachusetts.
Revere. In Revere.
Oh, yeah, we got Helen.
Oh, honey, Revere.
Here comes Helen from Revere.
My sister was thinking about moving to Revere, and I was like, "You gonna live in Revere?"
And she said, no, not anymore.
She said, "Never mind."
So Helen from Revere called, and and also 74-year-old Helen.
I just have to do like a quick side note here. I had a client from Revere when I still worked at the hair salon, and her name was Tony, and she had red hair, and she was like an older lady, and she was the coolest fucking broad I've ever met.
I love that.
And I love Tony. And Tony, if somehow for some reason you're listening to this, I miss you. I love you. You're phenomenal.
Tony from Revere.
She was the coolest.
Well, you know what? Helen just wanted to help.
So was she cool?
So Helen called, and she had read about the experiences in the paper.
Okay.
And she wanted to offer some advice.
Okay.
I'm Helen from Revere.
I got something to tell you.
She said, "We had the same thing in April of last year," she told them.
Of course.
Tables, chairs, ashtrays, dishes, lamps, even an artificial fireplace was lifted like paper.
An artificial fireplace.
An artificial fireplace was
Ked.
lifted like paper.
paper.
She said,
Oh
Helen.
my God.
According to Helen, A building inspector looked over the home and determined the cause of the problem was built-up gases trapped in the chimney.
We had the inspector come out. He searched around.
My God, we had an Inspector Sully come out, and he told us that it was just built-up gases trapped in the chimney.
It's just gases.
And when it was freed back into the house, it would blow items around the house.
Okay, yeah.
And while they were away, Detective Totsi was like, all right, cool. Like, that sounds valid.
Plausible.
Like, thank you, Helen from Revere. And
Helen.
she was like, that's all. I just wanted to help. I think it might be gases. And do you have an artificial fireplace?
Queen.
Queen. So while they were away, staying with family, Detective Totsi arranged for the home to have a turbine-style ventilator installed on the outside of the chimney. And that would prevent any downdrafts from entering the house that way. Because he was like, let's debunk that. Like, let's get that. Maybe that's it.
Maybe.
So it did seem a little unlikely that drafts were the problem in this house.
I don't know if drafts are causing objects to fly with such force that they're denting wood.
Yeah, we're trying to debunk.
But yeah, go for it.
It was just, again, Totsi said, I just want to rule out any potential explanation. And in response to a request for comment from a reporter, John Dittrich, a chairman of science at the Merchant Marine Academy, refuted this gases theory. He said, activity like that as the result of just the free movement of gases doesn't sound plausible.
Okay.
The idea sounds rather fantastical to me.
That's funny because my response was, that sounds plausible.
I know, and
he was like, that does not sound plausible.
Now, if the Herrmanns' temporary stay with relatives was supposed to give them a break from the media attention and the disruptions, it wasn't exactly successful. At least in terms of the media attention. In fact, them fleeing their home in desperation really only generated more interest in the story.
Makes sense.
And it didn't seem like the Herrmanns minded it like too much. They weren't like super put off by it. They definitely like entertained the press when they needed to. Like, I think they just kind of kept them on their side.
Yeah.
Which is smart.
I was going to say,
you don't
honestly.
want them to turn on you. On February 24th, Dave Kahn, a reporter from the Long Island newspaper Newsday, actually moved into the Herrmanns' home while they were living with the family.
Wow.
To cover the story from a first-hand perspective. He wanted to experience it.
That's cool.
And in his first report from the house, Kahn referred to his initial night as a frightening experience.
Really?
According to him, the activity began the evening of his first night, a little after 8 p.m., as he and James Sr. were sitting in the dining room having coffee. Out of nowhere, Kahn heard a loud crash from the living room and rushed in and found a figure had smashed against the wooden secretary. Interestingly, Kahn notes that just after he heard the crash, he jumped out of his chair and ran into the living room, and he said, but Jimmy got there before us. Now, a short time later, after the reporter had settled back in the dining room, they heard a, quote, low rumble come from upstairs. And when they went to investigate, they found that the dresser in Jimmy's bedroom had inexplicably tipped over. And he said, I tried when I heard the noise, like he tried to move it. And Jimmy told his father and Kahn, but he said, and a part of the dresser landed on my foot. I only saw it fall the last few inches.
Ouch.
So he was like in the room. When it happened, and it was actually like very near the dresser. In fact, he said it fell on his foot. Now, that would lead you to believe that maybe Jimmy's doing these things.
Well, yeah, I'm questioning
like,
it.
how can you not? There's that. Or there's the possibility, like they said, poltergeist activity can emanate from somebody in puberty going through, an adolescent going through puberty. So maybe it's because he's around, that's why it's happening near him.
Or maybe two things can be true at once. These things are happening, but also Jimmy's having a little bit of fun at the same time because this is a little exciting.
And I think that's the most valid explanation, I think. So I think this is not all Jimmy. I don't think it's all
But
him.
partially.
But I think maybe, I'm not accusing him.
No,
but maybe.
allegedly. This episode is brought to you by SoFi, the all-in-one finance app where you can bank, borrow, and invest all in one place. Let's talk about bank accounts for a second. The average bank savings rate is 0.39% in interest. You're earning pennies on your savings, and it doesn't have to be that way. But with SoFi's high-yield checkings and savings, the money barely making moves sitting in your savings account can earn over 8 times the national average savings rate with eligible direct deposit.
No account or overdraft fees. We love transparency. You can get your paycheck up to 2 days early, plus get up to a $300 welcome bonus when you sign up with eligible direct deposit. Sign up for SoFi Checking and Savings at SoFi.com/morbid. SoFi Checking and Savings is offered through SoFi Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Terms apply. Getting scared is one thing. Getting a thrill is, well, you want more of those in your life. The Genesis GV70 is built to thrill, baby. A thrilling yet elegant design always makes driving the GV70 an exciting adventure. Its powerful athletic stance screams performance and turns heads. Everybody's looking at you, girl, or boy, or whoever. Command the road and experience a class-leading standard 300 horsepower. Oh my God. Plus, discover the different dynamic drive modes for all different terrains. Choose between the different terrain modes for whatever road conditions you may encounter. The Genesis GV70's award-winning technology and performance lets you drive with comfort and drive with confidence all at the same time. It's an exciting SUV with intuitive tech that can make your ride smooth even when the road isn't. And its blind spot cameras allow you to see what's next to you. It's like having eyes on the side of your head. That's pretty iconic. Its performance, by the way, is measured not only in power, but in how it makes you feel confident, sexy. The Genesis GV70. Learn more at genesis.com and feel the GV70.
Maybe he had something to do with it. Now, after the dresser fell, James Herrmann promptly called Detective Totsi, who came out to the house, but could not figure out what the fuck happened. He said there was something especially strange about the noises, or excuse me, Totsi didn't say this, Khan said this.
Okay.
The reporter. There was something especially strange about the noises accompanying both disturbances. It was almost explosive, which that's interesting. He said, and the low rumble lasted an abnormally long time. And both noises seemed to elude the immediate location.
Mm-hmm.
Later that night, other objects flew from their locations, including a large bookcase in Jimmy's bedroom that was seemingly pushed away from the wall by unseen hands. Most baffling of all, at least for Khan, was an incident that occurred the next night. It was a little after 9 p.m., and he said, as I sat alone in the corner of the living room, a 10-inch cardboard globe of the world flipped silently out from Jimmy's darkened bedroom in my direction and bounced into the opposite corner of the living room. I jumped up, ran into Jimmy's room, and snapped on the light. The boy was sitting up in bed, the covers over his legs. Naturally, I tried to discover whether Jimmy had thrown the globe. I found that it was possible, but improbable. The globe could not have landed where it did if it had been thrown from the bed.
But could he have just huddled into bed really quickly?
He could have, but they said he would have to be very quick to get back in there, which he could.
Okay.
Now, when he noticed all the incidents that occurred at the home, he noticed that they all had one thing in common. The same situation with Jimmy has existed in every one of these strange occurrences since February 3rd when they started tormenting the family. He noted that in every case, Jimmy was near the affected object when it moved, and in all cases, he possessed the strength to move the object himself.
Okay.
However, he did have difficulty accepting that Jimmy could have been the real cause for all the disturbances. He said there is the physical improbability of him having the speed to say, get back in bed fast enough after throwing that globe, or the strength to throw figurines with the explosive force they display, like denting the wood. So he ended up being driven to the theory, quote unquote, that had become the most popular and common at the time they had a poltergeist, and that it might be emanating from Jimmy.
Yeah.
Now, after following the story in the press and speaking with the Hermans and Detective Totsi, J.B. Ryan, our scientist from before, was convinced that whatever was happening in the house was at least worth investigating at this point. So in early March, Ryan sent his trusted longtime assistant, J. Gaither Pratt, to Seaford in Long Island, along with a relatively new member of his research team, William Roll. William Roll was a German psychologist who'd been with the Institute for like a little less than a year. The two researchers moved into the house and started investigating, and they consulted with experts from RCA Communications who were brought in to determine whether the house was being affected by radio waves or other disturbances in the electromagnetic field.
Damn.
They really tried to debunk everything here. While the RCA scientists evaluated the house, Pratt and Roll set out interviewing the members of the Herrmann family about like the beginning.
Yeah.
The beginning till now. According to James, he became convinced they had a supernatural problem on the morning of February 9th. He said he was talking to Jimmy, who was in the bathroom brushing his teeth. And he said, I was standing in the doorway of the bathroom while Jimmy was brushing his teeth. And he said he told investigators, all of a sudden, 2 bottles that were placed on the top of the vanity table were seen to move. Both bottles moved at the same time.
Okay, that's weird.
He insisted that both bottles had previously been under the sink and were recently put on the table. So he concluded the caps had become unscrewed while they were under the sink.
Okay.
He was witnessing the bottles move on their own at that time. So he said, that's what made me think, okay, this isn't like gases or something. Something paranormal is happening here.
Right.
So since the phenomenon began in early February, the activity in the house really escalated day after day. And again, it became really aggressive, especially in the presence of non-family members in the house.
Huh.
But now that Pratt and Roll, 2 trained experts, were in the house, the poltergeist activity went completely quiet.
Uh-huh.
The equipment set up by the RCA technicians registered no change in the electromagnetic activity in the home, didn't pick up any unusual radio waves. So Pratt made it pretty clear going into this investigation, one of the researchers, that their objectives were very clear. It was to decide whether, 1, Jimmy is deliberately causing these things to happen and cleverly concealing them, because it is pretty clever how he's concealing them.
Yeah, it is.
2, that Jimmy is the agent for a poltergeist. Or 3, Jimmy...
Sorry. I'm thinking of Jimmy just like signing a poltergeist.
Like being an agent.
Like an actual
like
agent.
signing him on.
Like, let's go.
Getting him some opportunities, you know.
We have an ad coming in for you.
Jimmy, it's time to tour. Let's go. So
It's like Jimmy from Hacks.
there you go. Jimmy's the agent. So he's like, poltergeist, it's time to tour. Let's take the show on the road. Or 3, that there's a mixture of both.
Yeah.
That he's involved somehow, but not in the way we might think.
Okay.
Now, within a few days, Pratt and Roll had all but ruled out the involvement of James and Lucille, the parents. And they ruled out Lucille, the daughter.
Okay. Jimmy,
Lucille,
not so
the
much.
daughter, was often out of the house or was fully asleep when most of the incidents occurred.
She said, baby, I'm catching up on
she
my
said
beauty rest.
no. But the 2 identified Jimmy as the thing connecting all the events.
Okay.
Though they stopped short of drawing any conclusions about how previously how he was involved.
Mm-hmm.
But their suspicions caused everyone in the house, parents, researchers, the reporter, to keep an extra close eye on Jimmy.
Yeah.
Now, since the onset of the poltergeist activity, like we said, it was everywhere. It was in the local, regional, national papers all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Readers had a really close look in on this family and the disturbances happening. And the level of awareness that this caused was it kind of brought in like amateur sleuths, like what we would now have as internet sleuths.
Yep.
Even back then in the 50s. But
There's
these
always been
sleuths had to write into the papers and call the police department with their shit. And this type of engagement can be interpreted as a kind of support, which was typically accompanied by explicit support from those following the story. Mm-hmm. But when the narrative shifted towards suspicions that Jimmy might be the cause of some of these disturbances, the public sentiment about the Herrmann's poltergeist, by then referred to as the Popper poltergeist,
you are so Boston every time you say it's especially when you say Popper poltergeist.
I think I can't say 2 ers.
Yeah.
It's like I can get 1 out, but I can't
get 2. It's the Boston and you just say stop.
Yeah, it allows 1. It won't allow more.
It says you can park the car.
I know, I can't say it right.
That's funny.
Popper poltergeist.
I actually don't like it that way.
Popper poltergeist. So they were less sympathetic.
Yeah.
At this point.
I would be.
Which also, like, remember this kid is 12, everybody.
That's true. I mean, I would just be like, wow,
child.
Jimmy, what a turd.
Like, it's like he's
we were
a
all
child.
excited about
he doesn't
Poltergeist.
need the whole world bullying him.
Weighing in.
But as public criticism of Jimmy, this 12-year-old boy, grew, James Sr. did what any parent would do and took to the press to defend his son.
Yeah.
And emphatically rejected the belief that Jimmy had anything to do with the activity in the house.
Yeah.
He said, because the scientists of this country can't come up with an answer to this, people are trying to make a scapegoat out of a 12-year-old boy who can't fight back.
I mean, yeah.
But James didn't stop there.
Oh.
He went on to say he threatened to bar anyone from his home who openly questioned Jimmy's intentional involvement in this phenomenon.
I understand the dad in him wanting to do that because I'd be like, fuck you, don't come for my kid.
That's the thing. I can understand his role as a parent being like, fuck you, you're not questioning my kid.
But at the same time, you also want to figure out what's going on in your house.
Well, and it put Pratt, Roll, and to a lesser extent, Dave Kahn, into like a difficult position.
Yeah, because they're like, what if it is him?
Because if they want to find out what's happening here, if they want to remain in the home and continue to do their work, they have to ignore the theory that Jimmy is doing it.
And
essentially.
you really
That's
can't
not
do
good.
that. That's not how the scientific method works.
Exactly, and so which is not good. So despite the growing skepticism and near total lack of activity in the house at this point, Pratt and Roll continued the investigation. So Pratt said, I draw no conclusion whatsoever from the fact that there was no unusual occurrences after I came because there was so much turmoil in the house at that time. Mm-hmm. He said, but nevertheless, the lack of activity made it unnecessary for the researchers to stay in the house for very long while they were conducting the investigation.
Right.
So they just returned to Duke and continued the research from afar.
Yeah.
They were like, we don't need to be in the house. We didn't see anything.
Right.
Now, less than one day after Pratt and Roll left Long Island, it all began again.
Huh.
A table in Jimmy's room crashed to the floor, breaking a crystal table lamp, among other things.
It's interesting now that a lot of it is happening in Jimmy's room.
Yeah. And the incident prompted another call to Detective Totsi, who rushed to the house as soon as he was called. And according to Totsi, James reported that at the time, his son was, quote, flat on his back in bed with the covers pulled up to his chin. Mm-hmm. So he couldn't have possibly caused the table to fall. That's according to the father. Now, despite the convenient timing of the return of the activity, it does appear everyone involved remained unwilling to consider seriously whether Jimmy was causing the activity in the house.
That's not great.
Roll said, and this was one of the researchers, Roll, the fraud hypothesis would be easier to accept, and I get this. The fraud hypothesis would be easier to accept if it could be supposed that the other members of the family were acting as Jimmy's accomplices.
Right.
Like the parents. That is to say that, Pratt and Roll would be more likely to accept the idea if it was a hoax if it wasn't a child that was perpetuating this entire thing.
Yeah.
Pratt was equally emphatic in his rejection of the fraud theory, saying, I don't believe for a moment that there is any colossal hoax behind this. And these are two very well-respected researchers, and they don't need to be in the house anymore, so they don't need to bullshit.
Right.
So they're at least saying that they believe if there is a hoax happening,
he's
then
not
the whole family's
alone.
involved, and we can't seem to connect that.
Right.
And the other one is saying, I don't believe that there's a whole hoax here. I think there's something happening. Mm-hmm. Now, while the return of the activity was, an exciting development for Pratt and Roll, others were less enthusiastic. Totsi,
like the family.
Well, and Detective Totsi, who's probably a little sick of this.
Yeah.
He
He's like,
said,
I have actual crimes to investigate.
He literally said, it's the damnedest case I've ever worked on. I mean, it's beginning to go on forever. And it's true, because for what had been started as a call about a weird disturbance about a month earlier, the case had exploded and started attracting all this attention from all over the world. And all of it was rooted directly through Detective Joe Totsi. By March, Totsi was spending a significant amount of time combing through the correspondences received by the 7th Precinct on behalf of the Hermans, like people writing in to say, this is what I think is happening, this is what you should do, blah, blah, blah.
And that's a lot of shit to comb through.
And this was a lot of letters on how to deal with the problems, with suggestions ranging from kill your house.
What does that exactly mean?
I like that one.
Kill your house, like stab it?
Kill it. Kill the house.
Shoot your house down?
And another one was burn sulfur in every room.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Another one was wave a white silk hanky in every room.
Wave a white flag. Say, you know what, Poltergeist? You know what, Poltergeist? This is you.
I like that one.
I will go to
this one's my favorite. This one's my favorite. Buy a horse.
That's it.
You want to know why?
That's the tweet.
Horses have mysterious powers, so just buy one.
I agree that horses are mysterious
They
as
are
fuck,
pretty mysterious.
but it's kind of like adding a lot of expenses.
And as much as Detective Totsi would have liked to move on to more pressing matters, he was ordered to keep a close eye on this now wildly popular story.
Yeah.
He said the brass doesn't like anything to happen around here they don't know about. So he's like, so now I'm stuck.
Here I am.
So by mid-March, it seemed even the poltergeist had kind of grown tired of the whole thing.
Yeah.
As 6 days, then 10, then 20 passed in the Herrmann house without a single incident.
Okay.
Despite the quiet in the house, enthusiasm and interest in the case definitely remained. Members of the public were still calling, sending letters, even dropping by the house.
I don't like that. Stay out of my house.
James told a reporter on March 17th, 2 couples were over here with Ouija boards. I'm not sure what they were trying to do, but I didn't let them in. Do you think I want the whole house to fall down around our ears?
He said he has Papa energy. He's like, get the fuck out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
Get a life.
So the sudden end to the activity was surprising to James and Lucille Herrmann.
Which is all of a sudden was done.
Yeah, it was just done. Who'd been dealing with daily destruction of their home for over a month.
Yeah.
But Pratt explained that in his experience, such things tend to end that way. Lucille said that whatever force had been causing it just goes away, and usually they don't come back. While the Hermans were certainly happy to have some peace and quiet in their home, the abrupt and unceremonious end to the situation, public doesn't like that.
No. We don't. This episode is brought to you by SoFi, the all-in-one finance app where you can bank, borrow, and invest all in one place. Let's talk about bank accounts for a second. The average bank savings rate is 0.39% in interest. You're earning pennies on your savings, and it doesn't have to be that way. But with SoFi's high-yield checkings and savings, the money barely making moves sitting in your savings account can earn over 8 times the national average savings rate with eligible direct deposit. No account or overdraft fees. We love transparency. You can get your paycheck up to 2 days early, plus get up to a $300 welcome bonus when you sign up with eligible direct deposit. Sign up for SoFi checking and savings at SoFi.com/morbid. SoFi checking and savings is offered through SoFi Bank N.A. member FDIC. Terms apply. Getting scared is one thing. Getting a thrill is, well, you want more of those in your life. The Genesis GV70 is built to thrill, baby. A thrilling yet elegant design always makes driving the GV70 an exciting adventure. Its powerful athletic stance screams performance and turns heads. Everybody's looking at you, girl, or boy, or whoever. Command the road and experience a class-leading standard 300 horsepower. Oh my God. Plus, discover the different dynamic drive modes for all different terrains. Choose between the different terrain modes for whatever road conditions you may encounter. The Genesis GV70's award-winning technology and performance lets you drive with comfort and drive with confidence all at the same time. It's an exciting SUV with intuitive tech that can make your ride smooth even when the road isn't. And its blind spot cameras allow you to see what's next to you. It's like having eyes on the side of your head. That's pretty iconic. Its performance, by the way, is measured not only in power, but in how it makes you feel confident, sexy. The Genesis GV70. Learn more at genesis.com and feel the GV70.
Don't like things just
we like a neat
out.
bow.
Yeah, we need to know what's going on. Because they'd been closely following the case and they wanted an explanation.
I want an explanation.
So a short time later, Pratt and Roll provided the family with their report, finally.
Okay.
The researchers counted a total of 67 incidents.
Wow.
64 in which an object moved on its own.
Okay.
And 3 in which unexplained thumping could be heard somewhere in the house.
Okay.
So Roll wrote, Gaither and I spent 10 days with the family under circumstances which we felt gave us, quote, close acquaintance with all of its members. And we were unable to accept the family hoax hypothesis as a reasonable one.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The researchers concluded that after ruling out fraud and other possible explanations, the RSPK hypothesis had to be taken seriously for this case. RSPK is recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis. It was a popular theory among those at the Duke Lab for explaining the decidedly unscientific old world explanation of ghosts and poltergeists.
Yeah.
In Roll's theory, a person, and in many cases children, can produce a discharge of psychic energy strong enough to disrupt the 0-point gravity of an object.
That's really
which is the
fucking awesome.
The thing that keeps it in place.
It's Matilda.
There you go. Which causes it to appear as though it has flown across the room on its own. This is more commonly observed in cases where the individual is in a highly aroused or unsettled emotional or psychological state.
AKA puberty.
Such as adolescents going through puberty.
Yep.
Roll wrote, the poltergeist has a reputation of being elusive, if not plain evasive. This was not true in Seaford. Things sometimes happen in full view of people and when outsider visitors were present.
Yeah.
So while the researchers were unable to conclusively prove a cause of the activity, they were inclined to believe it supported the theory of RSPK.
Yeah.
They were satisfied that the activity was most likely unintentionally caused by Jimmy.
Okay.
This seemed an adequate explanation for some people. Made sense.
I'm happy.
Especially those who are eager to just like move on with the story.
Yeah, you get bored of a story after a while, like when you're experiencing it.
But not everyone found the RSPK theory to be satisfactory.
You're never going to satisfy everyone.
You never are.
As hard as you try.
Nope. In their own report on the incident, the Parapsychology Foundation of New York concluded that Jimmy was most likely the culprit.
Everyone leave Jimmy alone. Leave Jimmy alone.
And they noted that he might have caused the disturbances by normal means if he so wished.
Well, you know what? Maybe he was just vibing in these streets.
Maybe.
What the fuck else are you going to do at 12 years old? I don't know.
So, although they were unable to prove their belief that Jimmy had intentionally caused the disturbances, that group, the parapsychology group, was headed by former Duke parapsychology lab researcher Carlos Osis.
I really love that name.
They pointed out to the suspicious timing of the events, which this will give you a little bit of a pause.
Oh, no.
They wrote, disturbances during school hours occurred only on weekends. In the evenings after 8:30 p.m., when, according to Mr. Herrmann, Jimmy had gone to bed. The phenomenon occurred at that point either in his room or in places near his bedroom door.
Jimmy.
In the hours when the children might definitely be assumed to be asleep, nothing happened. Well, this was their working theory. Osis was quick to add, of course, this is not an accusation, but merely one possible explanation.
Yeah.
The presence of James Herrmann Jr., Jimmy, in all likelihood, was a necessary condition for the occurrence of the phenomena.
So they're not necessarily saying he did this, but he's got to be awake and in the house.
His presence is needed. We're not saying he did this intentionally, but we're not saying he did this intentionally. We're saying it's a possibility. While Osis and the Parapsychology Foundation may have kind of hedged their bets with that one, they definitely avoided blaming Jimmy outright, which is nice.
Yeah, that is nice.
Skeptical investigator Joe Nickel had no problems placing the blame where he thought it belonged.
Ruh-roh.
In his review of the evidence years later, Nickel wrote, taken as a whole, the evidence strongly points to 12-year-old James Herrmann Jr. as having been the deliberate cause of the Seaford Poltergeist outbreak. The motive, means, and opportunity were his, and the case was unwittingly prolonged by the credulousness of adults. So Nickel points to the efforts made by magician Milbourne Christopher to explain the phenomena in 1958, which included an extensive recreation of the bottle popping and other incidents that he performed for Roland Pratt. So he was like, this can be done.
Right.
But by a 12-year-old?
Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah.
But it's just like, whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah. It's advanced.
He said, Pratt had no idea of the simplicity with which the effects were accomplished. And Roll imagined that James's tricks would have had to have been produced by special devices, which would have been installed, operated, and removed in the presence of adult witnesses. So he was saying, like, Pratt and Roll were under the impression that whatever was happening here would have been very advanced in something that he would have had devices to
but
do.
Not necessarily.
But then Nickel was able to show him like some kind of like magician shit, like kind of like sleight of hand thing, that he was like, you really don't need that advanced of.
Yeah.
But like, did Jimmy know about this? Does a 12-year-old know how to do that? I don't know.
Could if he's into magic and shit.
But it's interesting.
And like you said, like the family was connected to scientists.
Exactly.
So who knows what conversations he sat in on.
Yeah.
Or eavesdropped on even.
And it's worth noting again, too, that the only reason Pratt and Roll really ruled out the hoax theory was that they couldn't fathom any of the adults in the house having been involved. They really didn't believe the adults were involved in this. And they couldn't accept the fact that Jimmy would have been able to execute this entire hoax on his own. But then Nickel's kind of showing them like he might have been able to.
Yeah.
But he's also not proving conclusively that he could do all of it. He's just saying like some of the stuff you're a little like iffy on.
He probably could have done that. Right.
Now, those who have investigated the case during and after the incidents, they agreed on very little. There was a lot of different theories going on. Everyone's kind of yelling at each other. But most do appear to be of one mind when it came for the motive for the activity. Like we said, like Pratt and Roll and a couple of other people said the psychokinesis that they were talking about, how it can happen when somebody's in like a very highly emotional or disturbed state.
Yeah.
So they figured that the destruction was caused unintentionally maybe or intentionally, but they said either way, they think the motive might have been Jimmy's allegedly poor relationship with what they referred to as his demanding and generally unsupportive father.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But again,
I didn't expect that.
yeah. And in the psychological evaluations of Jimmy and Lucille, the kids at this time, the child psychologist concluded that Jimmy demonstrated passive demandingness, hostility to father figures, and personal violence and isolation of affect.
Oh, wow.
All
That's
of
a
which
lot for a 12-year-old.
They took to believe to be repressed feelings of anger towards his father.
That's really sad.
So that can go either way. That can go with, did he intentionally do this for attention? What was that?
Or was it subconsciously?
Or was this some kind of strange, like
poltergeist feeding off
phenomenon
of
that
his
happens because
anger.
of his highly agitated and emotional state?
Almost like Carrie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, could it be either? Sure.
Yeah.
I could see both.
Oh, that makes me so sad. When the dad came out and said, like, nobody is like allowed to accuse my son, I was like, yeah.
Well, and that's why, like, I don't know a lot about their relationship, so I don't want to sit here and, like, speculate that they had this awful relationship.
I mean, it was
and everything.
the 50s, so
it was
parenting
the 50s,
was really
remember
different.
That, so I don't know if anybody really had, like, the ideal relationship with their father back then.
No.
He did come to bat for Jimmy during this whole thing, but I don't know what their relationship was before that. And we do have a child psychologist who's saying he seems to have anger towards his father.
Yeah.
So take with that
what you will.
But again, we don't have all the facts of that. So allegedly. There were, of course, other theories as to the cause of the disturbances. And the most interesting and outlandish were definitely offered, interestingly, by younger readers of the papers who'd been following the story and wanted to weigh in.
Okay.
One 14-year-old reader wrote in, "It's the pressure in the bottles. That's what's making them pop."
That's it. Okay, girly.
But then the reader went on to say, "I can also tell you what isn't the cause of these events.
What's not?
It isn't Martians or things on other planets, as some seem to believe. Don't blame it on the Soviet Union or any other country either."
Huh.
Another reader,
Hot
though,
take.
15-year-old Sandy, she said the Soviets might have something to do with the events. But why it's only happening in only one house? Well, that's a great question.
Sandy, babe. Sandy grew up to be a conspiracy theorist.
So
Jesus Christ.
So we must ask.
Was it
a
Soviets?
poltergeist? Recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis? The Soviets? Or a childish prank that caused the Herrmann household to explode for 1 month in 1958?
I guess we'll never fucking know. I'm willing to bet it wasn't the Soviets.
To this day, we don't know.
I know it's not Martians, and I know it's not the Soviets.
We don't know whether it's a poltergeist, recurrent spontaneous psychokinesis, the Soviets, or a childish prank. It could be any of them.
Based off like what I've heard today, I would like to think that it was poltergeisty and maybe influenced and like put on a little bit longer by Jim.
I could see that by Jim.
Jim.
Now, after the media interest in the story died down, they just kind of like the family just settled back into their lives. Like, James Sr., unsuccessfully ran for public office before retiring from his job.
Okay.
Lucille got a part-time job as a school nurse after the kids moved out of the house.
Okay.
And Jimmy maintained that he had absolutely nothing to do with the activity in the house.
All right.
He did not intentionally do it.
All right.
Or intentionally, I should say. He said maybe it was my vibes, but it wasn't me.
Maybe my vibes were off, but it wasn't my vibe. It wasn't my fault.
He said, I did not do that. And according to the Herrmanns, they never had another experience like those in 1958.
Wow.
James told a reporter in 1987, "Not a thing is happening around the house now. Everything's been peaceful and quiet every day since it stopped in 1958.
Interesting.
Jimmy graduated from college and went on to become the president of an electronics company in North Andover, Massachusetts.
Jimmy!
Yeah.
Wow. Where was the House of Flying Objects?
It was in Long Island.
Oh, Long Island. Right, of course.
Although the Herrmanns themselves may have like kind of just faded back into domesticity, by.
I love domesticity.
Which is good for them. Their story definitely lived on past that 1 year.
Here we are.
It was the subject of everything from, TV talk show fodder. Because remember that back then it was like all about that shit.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like Ed and Lorraine were on talk shows. Like there was TV movie plots. And even, again, one of the biggest ones, the main inspiration for Steven Spielberg and Tobe Hooper's 1982 horror film, Poltergeist. there's definitely like since then, since 1958, there's obviously been some like way more frightening and intense phenomenon that we can't explain. But the story of Seaford's House of Flying Objects is definitely going to always have the distinction of being really the first modern paranormal investigation in the United States.
It's really cool.
And the first obsessively documented and handled by the American press.
Yeah.
Like, this is the one that really was the first one to get the attention of the American press and just take it.
It really popped off.
It really popped off. So whatever you think is what you think, and that's fine, because I don't have a fucking clue, but I think the vibes are off. So I think the vibes were off.
I think we can all agree that the vibes were off.
I don't think 12-year-old Jimmy meant any harm.
And I don't think he did all of it.
Yeah.
I
don't
really
think
don't.
he
Well, intentionally.
I really don't think he meant any harm if he had anything to do with it. I don't. And it seems like the family recovered after that and they went on to live peacefully and quietly. So good for them.
Good.
Awesome.
Awesome.
And hopefully his relationship with his dad, if it wasn't great, I hope it got better.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Perfect. Me too.
You know?
What an interesting story.
A very interesting story.
I liked that one.
Because it's got a little spookiness to it, but it's more just like an interesting look at like the hoax of it all and the scientific investigation of it all.
I liked that part, like the scientific
Yeah.
investigation, because they took it really seriously. And
It's
they didn't
interesting.
I like when they actually like genuinely scientifically investigate
Look at
versus like the Ed and Lorraine kind of investigations.
that's-
I think those are
yeah.
cool, but like we've talked about them a lot, so it was interesting to hear like a different kind of
Like a
investigation.
straight up look at it using the scientific method.
Yeah,
kind
I
of
like
thing.
it.
Like I like that they do that because that's why I love I think it's Ghost Hunters.
It
That's
is, yeah.
TAPS, right?
Yeah.
I always confused Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, Ghost whatever.
I'm like 99% positive that Ghost Hunters is TAPS.
And then Ghost Adventures is Zach Bagans.
Yes,
Yeah.
precisely.
So Ghost Hunters. TAPS, I really love. That's
Yeah.
why I always loved that show, because I just love the spooky vibes of
And
that
the
show.
approach.
And it's like they're from Rhode Island. So it's like they're New
Rhode
England.
Island.
But they go about it intentionally going into debunk.
Mm-hmm.
And then they let things take it from there. But they don't go in being like, I think this is a ghost. They go in being like, I think something is up here and I'm going to figure out what it is.
It's like Scooby-Doo,
I like that.
but different.
That's a good way to go into, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Personally.
that's how you would do it.
A paranormal investigation is to go in with the intention of debunking and be surprised if you're surprised.
I think a lot of paranormal happenings are related to science.
Yeah.
Like
in some way, shape, or form.
It's all energy.
It's all energy, you know?
Drink every time I say
And you know
that.
what? One of the real stars of this is Helen Connolly from Revere.
Everybody pour one out for Helen.
74-year-old Helen was just out here being like,
You know what?
you know what? I had the same fucking thing happen to me in April.
She said it was crazy.
It was crazy. My artificial fireplace, like paper.
What is an artificial fireplace?
I think it's like one of those like literally fake little fireplaces.
Like a,
movable fireplace.
like a, what's that fucking called?
That's what I can't
space
think
heater?
of. Yeah, almost like a space heater.
Oh, okay.
But I think it like looks like a little fireplace.
Oh, okay.
Like it's got the
okay.
aesthetic
All right,
of a
the
little
aesthetic.
fireplace. But that shit, like paper.
That's terrifying. Those
Yeah.
things are also so dangerous. Be careful
They
with
are.
those.
Be very careful around those things, especially as we get into the winter months.
Yes,
be
be
careful about your
careful.
space heaters. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Helen forever.
Helen. I really liked
And,
that case.
I
Thanks,
hope
Dave.
Jimmy's. I hope Jimmy's doing well.
Me too.
He seems to be. He's the president of electronics company. I hope he's killing it.
Go, Jimmy.
You know. So
Well, I hope you guys are doing well too.
Yeah.
We also hope that you keep listening.
we hope you
Keep
it
weird, but not so weird that you don't sign off in your Revere accent.
I know.
Bye.
Talk about regrets. We all know someone who's been in a car accident and said, I don't need to call a lawyer, only to regret it after their pain and damages were worse than expected. When someone hurts you, you deserve to be compensated fairly. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm, fighting for the people for over 35 years. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com/podcast. That's forthepeople.com/podcast. Their fee is free unless they win.
In the U.S., there's a break-in every 26 seconds. But when intruders step near, Simply Safe Home Security steps up.
Stop. This is Simply Safe. Police are on the way.
Using AI alerts, U.S.-based live agents help deter break-ins. Simply Safe, no long-term contracts. Save 50% on your new system with professional monitoring at simplysafe.com/SXM or with promo code SXM.
Outdoor deterrence requires a Simply Safe Active Guard outdoor protection plan starting at $49.99 a month. Visit simplysafe.com/licenses for alarm license information. Tennessee 2012.